Welcome to From Pumps to Power Moves. I'm your host, Claudia Williams. This is where we stop waiting for someday and start making intentional moves today. We're diving into the strategies that turn ambition into action and influence into impact. Whether you're climbing the ladder or building your own path, this is your space to step into what's next and own it. Hi, and welcome. Today we're joined by a woman who's had not only an incredible life journey coming to this country as a young child, she's had a really interesting work journey from psychology to marketing to coaching some of the world's most interesting and successful business leaders. She helps with communication and leadership. She helps build businesses. She helps transition successful executives to their next thing. She has quite a story to tell, and she never got stuck doing any one thing. She's had the ability to say, how can I put all these pieces together and build them into something really special? Really thrilled to be joined today by Irina Baranov. Irina, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Claudia. Such a pleasure.
So, uh, first, can we start with a little bit of who you are and how you came to be in the United States? Because that, in and of itself, is an incredible piece of who you are.
Oh, thank you. I can't take credit for that being something that I had any hand or any say in. I was 7 years old, so as a proud immigrant, I have to always apologize for sorry, no cool Ukrainian accent. I am 100% Ukrainian with no cool accent unless you pick up a little bit of Philly in me. So I came to America when I was 7 years old, orchestrated by my parents who were trying to escape a really tough situation and also trying to take care of medical needs that could not have been taken care of in that country. So my mom needed open heart surgery that was only being done in America. So that was way back in 1979, and I've been here ever since as both a very proud immigrant and a very proud and grateful American. This is my adopted country, but I consider myself, I mean, I've been American for almost half a century. So
Mm. And what was that like for you as a little girl? Did you
mm,
speak any English when you came?
zero.
Zero.
Zero, yeah. And because of the political climate back then in the 1970s, so it wasn't independent Ukraine, it was all part of the Soviet Union under Russian rules. So you don't tell your 7-year old who's going to first grade that we're planning to move. So I had 1 day notice. 0 day notice. I came home from school one day and my parents were like, hey, pack a bag. We're leaving and we're going to a place where you know nobody, you don't speak the language. It was again today. I'm a very grateful, very proud
Mhm.
American. Back then, it was traumatic and not like little T. It was big T, traumatic. Yeah.
What did it mean for you to then go to school here? And how did you integrate? How did you assimilate? And I don't
Mm.
like those words.
Yeah, I think there are easier and harder ways of doing things, just about anything in life. I think I did it again, not by my design, by my parents. I think I did it the hardest way possible. Um my mother in her infinite wisdom, and I don't say that in jest, I think she's very wise. She thought the best way for this little kid to learn is immersion. So she, after 2 days in a English as a second language program where we were learning how to say the word the, because there's no such sound in the Russian language, so they were like trying to help us hold our tongues in a certain way. And she said, oh, so you're learning the same word for the second day in a row? Yeah, we're done with this. So plucked me out of that program, put me into the Philadelphia public school system, which if you know anything about that school system's not the best in the country. And so here I was, this teeny tiny 7-year-old. I mean, I'm a tiny adult, so I wasn't even a tinier little kid, going into the Philadelphia public school system where they tried to test me into what grade I should go into. And I couldn't speak a word. Well, I spoke the word the, but I couldn't speak any other words. So they couldn't really test me on English. So they tested me on math. I am the daughter of two engineers. I did just great on that test. And so they put this teeny tiny 7-year-old into third grade because I tested
Oh,
high on math. Yeah. So not a word of English, and also no second grade for little Irina. So I went straight from first grade in the former Soviet Union into third grade in Philadelphia. And that was being thrown into the deep end of the pool, and I swam, fortunately. They, there could have been a darker version of the story, but lu- lucky, smart, I don't know what, but yeah, learned English really, really fast because I needed to, and also learned to read people because I had to. Right, when you don't, it's kind of like when blind or deaf people will express how much heightened their other senses are. So when I didn't have the ability to understand language that's being spoken, what I did very quickly develop is the ability to read kindness, care. So to this day, the CEOs that I work with will say, would you just pop into Zoom and help me read somebody, whether it's, potential hire or somebody on their team that they quite don't quite understand." And I'm like, yes, sure. I don't know how much value I can add, but I find that when I give them my read on somebody, they're like, how did you know that? I would have never picked that up. So it's kind of a sixth sense that I have. I can read people better than most. Again, not because I read it in a book, not because I designed it any certain kind of way, because I was a 7-year-old who couldn't speak the language of the people around her.
yeah. I mean, I would say it's not a sixth sense, but a really intentional or unintentional development of
Yeah,
all of your other senses because you didn't have an ability to communicate verbally.
yeah.
And so, like you said, and as you described it, you were communicating. You
Mhm.
were communicating, and so you developed these other communication skills
Yeah.
so that you could survive and communicate in
Mhm.
a world where you could not use words. And
Exactly.
that's incredible.
Yeah, and this is, I would say, this is a shared experience when I meet other immigrant kids. They will share similar things, that they're quick learners because we had to become quick learners, and they're also really good readers of people.
Wow.
Mhm.
Fast forward,
Mhm.
you get a degree in psychology. You are a professional in marketing. So how does psychology
Yeah.
lead you to marketing
So I
and
majored in
being a chief
psychology.
marketing?
Yeah, so I majored in psychology, minored in marketing.
Okay.
I knew even back in school that I probably didn't have it in me to go through graduate school all the way to PhD. So even though it would have been cool to be a psychologist, I knew pretty early on. I was in a primary relationship since I was 16 years old with the father of my kids, and we kind of had this plan to finish college and launch and become full-blown adults by the age of 21. But
Okay.
again, immigrant kids, we were both immigrant kids, and we we do things quick. So I knew that that I wanted to start adulthood sooner rather than later, and I did. Graduated college at 21, got married at 22, had my first baby at 23.
You had a
you know
plan. You
fa-
had a plan. And
I
now
had
no one wants to live in a world of adulting.
Exactly, exactly. So with that plan, I didn't have the luxury and, honestly, the fortitude to go on to 6 to 8 more years of graduate study and become a psychologist. I love psychology. I have always loved psychology. My very first magazine subscription when I was 12 years old was to Psychology Today. I like, I would be sitting at the beach as a 12-year-old reading Psychology Today, and my poor parents, I'm the daughter of two engineers. My poor parents were like, what is this kid? How did we get her?
Right.
So I've always loved psych and like fascinated as my story kind of leads you to believe, fascinated by what makes people tick, what makes people tick, what makes friendships work, right? What makes marriages work, what makes for a good parent, what makes for a great leader. So all of those things were always super fascinating to me. And I also minored in marketing because I was fascinated about business development. So human development on this side of my brain, business development on this side of my brain. And what is business about? Business is about humans as well. So they in my opinion they go together. They always for me always went together really really well. When I would be designing marketing campaigns in my marketing career, I always had an eye on what's going to influence people and what's going to make them feel good and what's going to make them want to take action. So it was almost like designing campaigns that were a conversation. Like, let me pull this person into conversation. Let me pull this person into relationship. So again, I kind of had a weird and different take on what the field of marketing could and should be. So that was a very fruitful career path for me for a couple decades. Midway through that career, I had the world's most wonderful, wonderful boss. And I've even said to him midway through working for him, I will never work for anybody else. You've ruined me. You've ruined me for everybody else. Best boss ever. And
Wow.
yeah, and when you retire, I'm going to retire. He's like, well, that's a great plan, kiddo, but I'm in my 50s and you're in your 30s. So he 20 years my senior. He's like, I'm not, you've got two kids to raise and put through college. Not sure how that's going to work. I made it work. I kept that promise to myself. Steve Treat was the last boss I ever had, because after that, so sorry, let me back up. Midway through that career, midway through working for him, he said to me, it seems like you have more in you than being a marketing director. Like I get like you've reached the top of the food chain here, right? You're our chief marketing officer, you're the director of all things marketing, unless you want the CEO job after I retire, you're welcome to have it. I'm like, no, 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 I don't want the CEO job. He said, well, what are you gonna do in 10 years? And I said, oh, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And he said, what about that psychology thing? Like, what about that human development thing that you loved back in college? Like, do you see any intersection of business and psychology? I said, like, an organizational psychologist? And he was like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, go explore. Go explore what you want to be when you grow up in your next chapter. Yeah.
So
And
many things I love about what's happening.
yeah,
I have a couple questions.
yeah.
I have a
Go
couple
ahead.
questions.
Go ahead.
First, what made him such a great boss?
Mm.
What was it about him that was so great?
Oh gosh, uh, it's a good question. It's a big question. He was so many things to me. He was certainly a boss. He certainly, it kept the bar high of what my role needed to entail and what I needed to accomplish. He was also a mentor. He taught me
Mm.
things that I didn't know. So I learned so much from him. He was also a coach in that he would just ask tough questions and let me struggle and figure it out by myself. So not teaching me, but have me teach myself and like pull out of me things that were already there, or go send me on a like expedition of go figure out what your next chapter should be. I don't have the answers for you. You go figure it out. Which by the way, I'm a giant nerd. You know this about me. I love to read, I love to research, I love to dive deep. I love to go ask people for their wisdom. And so I did this deep dive on what could be next. And in that process, met an executive coach and started working with her. And my gosh, Claudia, it must have been 10 minutes into our first session when I was like, I know what I want to be when I grow
That's
up.
it.
And she said, what? And I said, you. So tell me that process. Tell me what school you went to. Tell me what's required. And God, please, I hope it's not as long as getting a PhD in psych, and it wasn't, but it was still fairly long. But back to your question about what made him special is he took time. He
Mm.
took time to care about me and not just growing the best, marketing professional who reported to him, growing the best Irina. Like he would ask me questions about my kids who at the time were 3 and 6, and they're now 27 and 30, and they will tell you how many Steve Treat stories they heard growing up of,
Oh.
like, oh, Steve Treat thinks this, and Steve Treat would ask me that question. And like to this day, his fingerprints are on so much of my parenting, so much of my leadership, so much of my coaching. He was an amazing example of what a boss, friend, mentor, coach, like, all rolled up into one, which you can see why like, working for him, I thought to myself, it really cannot, will not ever get better than this. So, Irina, you better figure out what to do after he retires.
You grill your own coach on how does one become a coach, and then what
Yes.
happened?
And then I copy pasted. I went to the school she went to. I got the certifications that she got. Um, I did do some research, and at the time, there weren't lots of options. Like, if I really wanted to be credentialed and have letters after my name and have passed certain exams 20 years ago, there just wasn't the plethora of options that there are today. Online courses and weekend programs, and you
Right.
spend a week in Tuscany becoming an executive coach. I, I have to tell you, I'm not upset about the fact that my program was 2 years long, that it was expensive, it was super effortful, not effortless. The exams were hard. Like those credentials, those letters after my name, they mean something to me. And all the effort that I went through to become a certified executive coach absolutely serves who I am as a coach, serves, I hope, serves my clients. And I'm glad I did it the way that I did it, and it's so much easier now. So I tell, when people ask me the same question I asked her, Irina, what was your program? I said, I'm happy to share my program, but at the time, almost 20 years ago, like maybe there were 5 programs. There's now 5,000. So like, please don't necessarily copy paste what I did, because it was long and expensive.
Did anything surprise you about being a coach?
I think what still surprises me to this day, and I do workshops on this topic, is how many people confuse and conflate coaching with other things. So when I tell you that my former boss Steve was an amazing lots of things, I don't
Mhm.
say he was an amazing coach. I say he was an amazing coach, and he was an amazing mentor, and he was an amazing boss, and he was an amazing friend. Like, I know that those are separate things. And often when I'm working with clients, they're like, "Hey, can you just tell me what to do? Can,
Mm.
can you just consult on this? Can you just mentor me on this?" I can, but that's not coaching. So that surprised me when I started, and it still surprises me that people confuse and conflate coaching with other things that are possible to do that aren't really coaching.
Mm. Say more about that. So, when are there times when you do go into more of a consultant mode, or are you very clear that I am your coach? I'm not here to consult and give you options and answers. I'm here to have you think about it and have you go on a journey to figure it out.
Yes and yes. Yes and yes. I talk about this in my workshop, The Art and Science of Coaching, where I say that the most powerful question you can ask yourself silently in your head, and I ask myself this question 58 times a day, is what does this moment call for? What does this person call for?
Mm.
Right? What does this moment call for? What does this person call for me, because I'm a coach, and that's the designed alliance, if you will, that's the contract, if you will. 9 times out of 10, the moment calls for coaching, and I'm gonna stay in that lane and say, "No, I believe in you. I'm not gonna solve this for you. I believe in you. I'm gonna ask you some tough questions. I'm gonna give you some homework, but I believe that you can figure this out, and your answers are gonna be so much better than mine." 9 times out of
Mm,
10, I do that. If I'm asking myself the question, what does this moment call for? And the person is really stuck, and I have some expertise. Look, I've coached hundreds of CEOs. I've, I've walked people through the path of building successful businesses and dealing with the hairy issues on the people stuff, on the process stuff, on the learning growth. I have ideas, and I have experience and expertise that many people don't. And so to withhold it when somebody truly, not like a little bit stuck, but truly is at their wits' end, can't figure it out, they've tried really hard, that just feels unkind. It feels unkind to not help them. So if I can answer the question, what does this moment call for? And it is consulting, it is mentoring. I'll just do this. Like, hey, I'm going to take off my coach hat for a minute. I see that you're really struggling. Would this help? And then I offer them what I can offer them.
how about speaking of hats, you do wear many different hats.
I do. Too many.
Yeah. So for all of the overscheduled, overbusy
Yeah.
leaders, executives, humans out
Mm.
there, can you talk a little bit about the different hats you wear and how you stack those hats on your
Mm.
around?
So I will say the one thing that's important to keep in mind, that as I tell my story and what hats I wear, is that I I am my own boss, right?
Mhm.
I don't have a boss. I don't have somebody telling me, Irina, this is what is expected of you. So I wear those hats very willingly, and also all of them can be expanded and contracted as my life requires, with some advanced planning, of course. So I wear the hat of chair. I chair 4 peer groups, 2 for Vistage, 2 for Tiger 21. They are peer groups of leaders and very well accomplished men and women who are going from good to great. I would say all of the peer groups that I chair have one thing in common, in that they are a gym, not a hospital. They are a gym, not a country club. So here's what I mean
I
by that.
love how you describe that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so if somebody's coming into one of my peer groups, they are ready to get sweaty. They are ready to work out. They are ready to be pushed by me and by their fellow peer group members. But it's not a hospital. Nobody's coming into these peer groups who's bleeding and saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm on the verge of bankruptcy. Please save my business." Right? That person needs consulting. That person needs like some quick triage. That's not what peer groups are designed for. I also don't run the kind of peer groups, I know some people do. I don't run the kind of peer groups that are country clubs, where we've got it all figured out. We just want to hang out and, enjoy each other's company and be with like-minded people. Fantastic. Those groups exist. I'm not running them. So I run peer groups that are a gym, that are designed to be a, mental emotional workout. Sometimes I even send them on walks together. They're like, "Oh, are you throwing in physical workout too?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So so I wear that hat of chair. I wear the hat of coach. I do some one-on-one coaching with people. I wear the hat of speaker. I've told you about the art and science of coaching workshop that I do.
Yep. And what other workshops do you do?
I do the art and science of coaching as an offshoot of that. Some people have asked me to come in and do advanced coaching or advanced conversation skills. Coaching is a lot about listening and a lot about talking, talk so they'll listen, listen so they'll talk. So some organizations want kind of an advanced version of the communication skills. So I'll talk about that. I also love for retreats doing something called life by design, not by default. So I think oftentimes we business leaders design our businesses much more than we design our lives. And before we know it, we are burnt out. We're on the verge of divorce. We're sick. Our kids aren't talking to us. And yeah, if you don't design for success in your personal life, it's kind of like business. It's probably not going to happen automatically. So there's a common theme among all my workshops. Some are more, personally focused, some are more professionally focused. But again, if you go back to the core of who I am, that little girl who was sitting on the beach reading the Psychology Today magazines, it's about connection. It's about intentional design and figuring out how this works and how this works.
It's all very human centered
Mhm.
in your approach to everything you do. And a peer group, by the way, for everyone listening, the peer group is where you bring in leaders of different businesses, and it is a very vulnerable space for them to talk about what's happening in their lives, whether it's a business thing impacting the business or a personal thing impacting their life, which impacts the business ultimately. And they have the ability to share and receive feedback from peers to say, okay, well, tell us more about this, or ultimately, here are some suggestions I have. And then they're held accountable by those peers. So it's a special and sacred space.
I love that you said that. That's how it feels to me. It very much feels like a special and sacred place where confidentiality is key. What is said in that room stays in that room. Love comes first and challenge comes second. So there's deep care among the members for each other. Yes, they'll challenge each other. Yes, they'll push each other. Yes, they'll hold each other accountable, which, by the way, for super successful people happens just about nowhere. Nobody's holding
Because
them
there's no one
accountable.
to do it for
Right.
them. There's no one around them
That's
at
right.
their level,
That's right.
their group anymore of colleagues in their office.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
What's what's challenging about working with a lot of different leaders? I mean, it's all really good work. It's also not easy
It's not.
work. So
It's
you
not.
have all these different hats. None of this is easy.
Hmm.
So what's hard? So now this is the blind spot breakthrough piece of this. It
Yeah.
all sound right. Like, so this all sounds fun. You get to control which hat you wear, how often you wear it.
Hmm.
So now let's talk about what
What's hard? Yeah. So
know a little bit about you, and you have to make some difficult decisions. So what's hard about what you do and how you do it?
what's hard is group dynamics. Probably what's hard for me is what's hard for any leader, right? You get exceptionally bright people in a room and there's group dynamics there. Like some people are going to rub each other the wrong way. Some people are, whether we're talking about disc or enneagram, different personality styles, like the so I am a heart centered, all about the person, all about the relationship type of individual. I'm an Enneagram. I'm a two. I care. I want to help everybody. So I'm a two with a strong three wing, which means I'm an achiever also.
Yes. An
Um,
Enneagram is one of many different
one
types of
of many.
assessments. Yes.
Exactly. So when somebody like me is with an Enneagram one or an Enneagram four, again, there's different there's all different assessment tools, but there are people who clash. There are people who are opposites. So your accountant and your social worker types are just two very different individuals. You get them into a group setting and talking about what's going to work, what's not going to work. There can be some group dynamics. So what's hard for me is like continuing to think of myself as a conductor of an orchestra, and the violin doesn't need to sound like the drum. The orchestra actually doesn't work if the violin sounds like the drum, but it's how do I pull the best music, the best violin music out of the violin? How do I pull the best drum music out of the drummer, and so that everybody can create a beautiful song together in synchrony.
What a wonderful analogy, because we
Mm,
want these different personalities
yeah,
and leaders. One of the mistakes we see them make in their organizations is hiring too many people who are just like us,
yeah.
right? That notion of fit means I want someone just like me,
Mhm.
and it might be subconscious in the process.
Yeah,
But then we have everyone is very similar, and we're not having different perspectives. We're not It's okay to clash. It's how we clash.
that's right.
Both smack up against each
That's
other
right.
kind of thing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I love that.
I always say diversity is a beautiful thing, and I pull that out during the tough moments in my groups. I'll say, hey, we're having some diverse opinions, and diversity is a beautiful thing. Diversity is a productive thing. Diversity is also a hard thing. So right now we're in a moment of hard. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our core values of love, care, respect, honesty, all the things, and finish this conversation. And so I think sometimes people just need to kind of take a breath and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This hard thing, this diversity thing that we said we wanted, yeah, it's feeling hard right now." And let's get really present. Let's get really mindful, not be triggered by each other, and figure it out. But
You're
Claudia,
describing Oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
So you're describing masterful facilitation
Mm,
and calling it out in real time, and
mhm,
giving everyone an opportunity to be in their feeling in the moment, acknowledging it so that you can get past it
that's right.
and have a meaningful conversation. And a lot of leaders struggle with that.
A lot of humans struggle with it. How many families are going to struggle that there are, core values differences around their holiday tables? So yes, this is not just peer groups. It's, what happens in peer groups is what happens in life, but this is happening in our families, this is happening in our communities, this is happening in our businesses. Yes, and we have to if we're going to continue to progress forward in loving, caring, smart ways, we have to embrace that diversity and manage, self-manage, right? I'm human, you're human, we get triggered. We have to self-manage during the triggering moments and not say this gathering is bad, these people are bad, these ideas are bad. It's like, no, this is hard. This is hard, and hard doesn't mean bad.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. How about learning to say no and
Hmm.
not being in a pleaser mode?
Hmm.
How hard is that? Can you talk about that a little?
So we've both taken the positive what is the
Positive intelligence.
PQ, positive
Yes.
intelligence. So my saboteur is pleaser, right? I am a firstborn. I aim to make my parents proud, right? So that like that's my foundation from birth. And of course I want to do that for everybody, for my friends, for my family, for all my business associates. I want to do that for everybody. So no is a hard word for me. My kind of my Jedi move around it is something like yes if. So I
Ooh.
So I often and these are not necessarily the words I would use out loud. Again, words in my head and kind of how I conceptualize an answer to a request. So in my head, the question is, under which conditions would this be a full body yes? So not a pleasing from my heart because I want to make people happy, not just the pleasing yes, but full body. Like my intelligent brain looks at my calendar and says, "Yes, this can fit." Like my tired middle-aged body considers that this is 3 flights away, and I'm already committed to a workshop and on the other side of the country the following day, right? Full body, mind, body, spirit. What conditions would need to be present for this to be a full body yes? And there are conditions, right? It's like it should be a direct flight, less than 3 hours, ideally. It should be working with a colleague who I really enjoy because that would make my spirit soar. It should be with an audience where I can do a lot of good. Like I run through that list in my mind of what conditions would need to be present for this to be a full-bodied yes. So it's not like my immediate my immediate go-to is no. That's never going to be, I'm a pleaser. That's never going to be my immediate go-to. But if my immediate go-to is yes, then the question for me becomes yes if, or the answer becomes yes if. And if the if conditions aren't met, then it has to be a no thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored and can't do it.
Can you tell us a little bit about the leaders you're working with who are now nearing the shift in a phase in their leadership journey? And it's now coming to be about what's next.
Mhm.
What's that experience like? What's different about working with leaders at that phase versus working with leaders who are still in the process of building, growing,
Mhm.
scaling the business?
Yeah, great question. I think the leaders who are building, growing, scaling, they see this, even if it's like jagged, but they see this path, they see this trajectory that they're on, and they're up for the ride. They are entrepreneurs, they're builders, they're risk takers, they're used to failure, success, picking themselves up, dusting themselves off. That they are on this growth path. Again, it's not a straight line, it's a jagged line, right? There's gonna be downs, there's gonna be ups, but they're on this path. And I'm right there alongside them with my coaching, with my whatever help I can offer them. The leaders who are in transition, the ones that are about to step off the path, or who have stepped off the path, they are somewhat in an abyss that they weren't prepared for. So you and I have talked about the concept of cocooning.
Yes,
A cocoon is something that a caterpillar builds to go through the process of becoming a butterfly. A caterpillar cannot go from caterpillar to butterfly without that middle, without that cocoon. So in that cocoon, when we're cocooning, it's a sweet sounding word. It actually doesn't feel sweet. It is messy. It's called the messy middle for a reason. It is gooey. It is dark in there. It like the poor caterpillar's trying to build its wings. And if you cut that cocoon open and be like, here, let me help you, soon to be butterfly, what happens? It dies. It
it's a
literally,
goner.
it's
Yep.
a goner. It's a goner. So as much as we want to help people who are in transition, as much as we want to rescue them because we see them in the goo and in the dark, it's the worst thing you can do for them. It's the worst thing you can do. So what's hard for me, the helper, the pleaser, what's hard for me is to just kind of join them in that goo and say, yeah, I see you. This is really hard. This is really hard. You're going to have to figure out your next step. I heard you say you're retiring, or you're planning to retire from being a CEO. Cool. What are you going to retire to? I'll figure it out. I'm like, let's figure it out now. And you know why they don't want to figure it out? Because going from CEO to whatever's next, even if it's like full time grandpa, is a transition. And in the transition is the cocoon, and it's dark and gooey in there. Nobody wants to be in the goo.
And there's a huge identity shift.
There is. There is.
They've been something for so long. And you and I talked the other day, and you said, we don't fear change, we fear loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the perception that there is loss in there and what that loss is, and having that to make up for, replace something, there's a push pull give take with that loss.
Yeah, so let me give credit where credit is due. That those words don't come from me. They come from a brilliant psychologist and speaker, Dr. Gustavo Grednitsky. He talks about culture and generations and how people don't fear change, they fear loss. When you said, there's a shift in identity, I would say yes, and let's dial up the heat on that pain. It's not just a shift in identity, there's a loss.
Loss.
Let's acknowledge that loss. When somebody's going from CEO to exited CEO, maybe they just got, a $10 million check in their bank account. Fantastic. That's not a loss. But what is a loss? Loss of identity of I am a leader of people who I get to inspire and motivate and every day connect with. Gone. I am someone who, right? So, and you can finish the sentence. I am someone who, in a million different ways, but typically they are going from I am someone who leads. I am someone who has purpose. I am someone who has big goals. Those are all identity.
Right.
And so I'm retiring from that and I'm losing all that and I'm going through the messy middle to become something else. But my gosh, if what I'm going towards isn't equally interesting, exciting, fulfilling, there's going to be loss. There's going to be loss to process there.
And tack on to that, when I am the founder of the business, now it's like giving up my baby.
Yes.
This is a painful time. And so
Yeah.
when I've seen the next generation of leader come in those circumstances, and that the founder might be retired, and I have air quotes and I'm using that term very loosely, but they still have an office, they're still coming in every single day, they're still
Mm.
walking around and having conversations with everyone, and the new president or CEO is like, "Oh my gosh, why won't this person just leave?" And I'm like, "You don't understand.
It's too much loss. Yeah. They don't want to deal with the loss. Yeah.
They cannot they can't just walk away."
Hmm.
It's pain. They're in pain right
That's right.
now.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's a lot of pain to work through. It's a multi-year transition when they don't
Yes.
have something to make up for that pain.
Yeah. And Claudia, there's a subspecialty in our field called transition coaches. People who specialize in just that. People who specialize in helping high achievers go through that transition, go through the messy middle and get to the other side so that they can in a mindful, conscious, productive way leave the past behind, leave the company to the new CEO, right? And create their new path forward. It is meaningful work. It is hard work. I applaud transition coaches that
Mhm,
if that's
mhm.
all, so I do a little bit of it, you do a little bit of it. There are people who 40, 50, 60 hours a week, that's all they do is they walk leaders through transitions. Tough.
Very tough. It's painful, emotional work because they're not making decisions about other people anymore. They're making decisions about their own lives, and those are the hardest decisions to make.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Ugh.
Mhm.
Uh, Irina, when you're not delivering workshops, you aren't coaching others, what are you doing for fun?
All my babies, all my late 20s, early 30s
Mm,
babies are home for the week, and there's just nothing more fun than hanging out with my adult kids. They're my three favorite humans. So I have a son, a daughter, and a daughter-in-law, my bonus daughter, and they're my three favorite humans. So this is going to be a week filled with fun and games and eating too much and drinking too much and all the things. When I'm not doing that, I love being out in nature. I love hiking. I love exploring cities and new towns. It's part of the fringe benefits of being a speaker who runs around the world. I'll often take an extra day. Like I was speaking in Colorado Springs, and somebody said to me, have you hiked Garden of the Gods? I'm like, no, I haven't. And it was incredible. I took an extra day and I did that.
beautiful.
So I love seeing new parts of the world, US and outside of the US, and just soaking up all the gorgeousness that nature has for us.
Where do you think your big, deep, giant heart came from? Have you ever thought about that?
Ah, I'm gonna try not to cry while telling the story. So I lost my baby brother to cancer when he was 26. He was 26. I was 35. I was baby brother. He was 9 years younger than me. So we came to America when I was 7, and consolation prize for that was that I finally got the sibling that I desperately wanted my whole life after they fixed my mom's heart.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got to have him for 26 years, and he passed away. He fought the hardest battle you could possibly fight against cancer, but passed away. And I remember sitting in therapy and saying, "My heart is so broken. I have the biggest hole in it. Will that hole ever like I wanted a path. I wanted the solution. Will that hole ever get smaller?" And my therapist said, "I have good news and bad news for you. Bad news is you loved Alan so much that hole will never get smaller. I have good news for you too. You, Irina Baranov, have the ability to grow a bigger heart. So go do that.
Beautiful.
We can't make the hole smaller, but you can go grow a bigger heart." And that's what I've been doing all these years.
Because you love your work, you love your clients,
Mhm.
you love the people you work with, and you're very particular about who you work with.
I am. I am.
And what are your rules of engagement? Because the love just, I mean, it envelops everything you do. So,
Mhm.
like, what are your rules of engagement? How do you bring that love?
So first of all, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing me. I often say I'm the luckiest girl in the world. I get to do work I love with people I love. I get to do the work that I love with people I love. So that that's a really high bar. Like I don't just
Mhm.
have to, kind of sort of like you, respect you, think you're doing interesting things. I want to love the people I work with. And you're not going to like my answer, but I can't put it into words. Like it goes back to that 7-year-old who just reads some kind of goodness and wonderfulness. The reason why I want to hang out with you. I don't know why. I don't know why I love Claudia Williams. I just know that I do.
I'm so lucky, and so grateful. Did you ever read someone wrong? I have.
Once or twice.
I've made some mistakes.
Yeah, once or twice. Not often, but yeah, I've had a few. I've had a few. There are some people, and I don't want to pathologize them, but they typically have labels, right?
Yes.
There are some people
They
who are
have a
just
gift to deceive.
they're good. Yeah. There's some people who are just like really good at manipulating and making you think feel a certain way. So I'm human. I'm not immune to that.
Okay. All right. And when you realize it, when you recognize it, are you quick to remedy the situation?
The
I've gotten
older
better at being
Yeah,
quicker, but
me too. The older I get, the better I get, and
yes.
and my gosh, Claudia, I hope you and I are never perfect at it. I hope we're never so perfect that we're like AI robots or like, yep, good person, bad person. No, like I hope we always struggle with it. I hope we always kind of like, gosh, I don't know, maybe this person deserves a second chance. I hope we always stay open hearted enough to struggle.
Oh, yes, because the opposite is that we're jaded and
Yeah.
we've lost our big old hearts.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm. What do you hope the next year of life calendar brings for you?
I think I wish for me what I wish for everybody. It's health, love, and adventure.
Mm, mm. What question do you have for me?
Volley right back at you. What do you wish for yourself for the year ahead?
Oh, well, so we were talking about cocooning, and I feel like I just came out of a cocoon and I was in it for a good solid year.
Mhm.
And I feel like I have that creative, adventurous spirit again. And so I'm really looking thank you. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this spirit takes me. So I'm having fun. Again, I'm having a lot of fun with my work. I'm thriving being in the room with people for workshops. I'm loving coaching again. I'm having a lot of fun again. And I was in that cocoon funk because it is, as you described it, it is a funky
It's so
place
fun.
to be. But thankful for you and our fellow peers in our own peer group.
We practice what we preach. We're in a peer group.
We do. And who went on that journey with me. And so I'm loving that. I'm excited for my kids. One is graduating from college and she'll be starting her master's degree, and so they're in a great life stage. And Steve, my husband, and I, we're having a blast. We have fun travel
Yeah,
coming up in the next year, so I'm excited for travel. And just, I don't know. People say I'm in my 50s now, and so far it is proving to be the most fun decade of my life.
agree, agree. Well, let's keep sharing travel stories and 50 something stories and adult kids stories. I I'm not just delighted. I'm delighted and grateful to be on this journey with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today and for letting us go behind the curtain with you. I invite you to come back as often as you'd
Thank
like.
you. Thank you.
And very grateful for you, grateful for our friendship and your big, big heart. You're special.
Right back at you, sister.
Thank you. And until the next time, thanks for joining us on today's episode. You have the insight. The next move is yours, because influence without action doesn't create impact. If this was valuable, please give it a like, a follow, and share it with someone else doing the work. I'm Claudia Williams, and this is From Pumps to Power Moves. Now go take ownership of what's next.